Everybody, Johnny Van Zant from Leonard Skynyrd. You are listening to the Rob Sass Radio Show.
So a few weeks ago, I caught up with Johnny Van Zant, vocalist with Leonard Skynyrd. What a nice guy, and so this is the first part of our conversation. Johnny Van Zant, a very warm welcome to the Rob Sass Rock Show. It's a pleasure to have you on. How are you doing today, mate?
I'm doing good, brother. How about yourself?
I'm very good. I am very good indeed.
It's great to be here, man, and man, just looking forward to getting this new record out and live record out that was recorded at the beautiful Ryman Auditorium there in Nashville, Tennessee, and man, looking forward to seeing the fans. You know that.
Yeah, well, the album is celebrating 50 years live at the Ryman. It's released June 27th, and it's also out as a DVD. And you are demonstrating it beautifully.
I'm showing you the cover of it, man. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it is. You know what? We're bringing out LPs, CDs, a DVD, and Rob, there's a documentary that's on here that's just amazing. I'm pretty tough guy when it comes to crying, but whenever I seen it, actually the completed version of it, I was just blown away by it and had a tear in my eye, man. I'm telling you.
Well, even rockers can cry, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. My daughters always go, real men cry, Dad.
You're obviously excited by the release of this album.
Oh, yeah. You know, man, it was a wonderful night for us. And it was Gary Rosington's last performance, and little did we know it was his last performance. And luckily the cameras were rolling and we got him doing what he did best, and that was playing that guitar and being a part of Leonard Skynyrd and carrying on the legacy and the music of it.
That's right. So this album DVD, it's a important document of a band, with a very, very long history. And with a band that's been going on as long as Leonard Skynyrd, you have lots of peaks and troughs in your history.
Sure.
So it's a very important document, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is to us. I think the fans, you know what, I say fans, but they're really more like family to us. We're kind of like the Grateful Dead here in America, man. We have people that schedule their holidays around our touring schedule, and they're at every show, and just amazing people, and that love this music. And I joined in '87, and actually '86 I walked into a room with surviving members of my brother's band. My brother was the commander in chief and alpha dog, and those guys were a little younger than him. And for them to ask me to be a part of this, I couldn't turn it down. And it's been an honor and a pleasure. And me and Gary and Ricky and the boys, we've all been around the moon 5 or 6 times together. And not have him here and it fall on a 50th anniversary of the band was just an amazing thing for us to be able to have these cameras rolling and capture this. And the most amazing thing about that night was that myself, Ricky Medlock, Gary Rosington, and my brother Donnie from 38 Special were all in a little tiny dressing room, stepping over each other's luggage, eating cold pizza and telling stories. And that was just a great night, awesome night for us.
Yeah, life on the road. The glamour of the backstage dressing.
Oh, yeah. I always kid with people. I go, I got to talk to my professor. And they're like, you had a professor? I said, no, but if I had one, I needed to talk to him about some of the stuff we go through out there. It's not quite what you think whenever you get into it,
Yeah, absolutely. So how much responsibility do you feel carrying on the legacy of A, your late brother, and B,
Sure.
of Leonard Skynyrd with so much history?
Well, I don't know if it's a responsibility, but it's raised and it's in my blood. I'm coming up on 40 years doing this. Carrying on the legacy of the guys that passed on in '77 and the ones that passed on after, and and Gary being the last original member. But he did tell me before he passed, he said, I don't want this music to go away. I've spent my life, from 1977 on, carrying on the legacy that we all started many, many years before that. And So I got a theory that if the good Lord gives me breath and I can go out there and play, I'm gonna try to carry this on and go see the fans. We have amazing fans. We have four generations of fans, and it's an amazing thing. I just did a show here with Bobby Kid Rock, and for some reason it really clicked to me. I was looking because I got the best seat in the house, being in the middle of the stage and on stage, and I'm looking at the fans as I did Freebird, and I'm going, it's ages 4 to 80 out here, and that's an amazing, amazing, amazing thing. And they're all singing Simple Man, so what a great song, what a spiritual thing. I'm a very spiritual guy. I believe in Jesus Christ and the good Lord above. And I think he puts us in places that we're supposed to be, because we're not that smart, we're not that smart to really map out our life, so we got to have a leader in control, that father figure, and he's mine. He's put me in this place, and if I have my just due, I would prefer, my brother to be here and all the ones who started this, but who am I to change God's path for us? Simple Man that night was just an amazing night. It was an experience. It was a spiritual thing for me. I just went, wow, what a great thing. I mean, my brother wrote those words years ago, and this audience is singing it louder than me, and I got a PA, so, it was an amazing thing, amazing, amazing thing.
Tell me about the story with Freebird. What happened that night?
Yeah, that night, man, we had a great night, no pressure. We get down to playing Freebird, and we went into it. And Gary always used, it looks like a little coffee stir thing that you'd put your coffee to stir up, but he'd put it underneath the strings. And that's how he made that slide sound, to have the Gary Rosington sound on Freebird.
Okay.
Well, something happened that night, man, and it wasn't working. And we went through, I think, the first verse, and myself, I just went, there's no way in hell we're going to record this song and have Gary's slide not be there. So we stopped the whole show. The audience loved it. I said, wait, 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 we can't do this without Gary. And they were very patient. And Gary came back out and rocked it. And man, it was when something like that's happening, you play music, an amp goes out or you break a string or something's out of tune, and you kind of freak out a little bit. But if you've been doing it a long time, man, you just go, you know what, shit happens, let's stop. And that's exactly what the heck happened that night. We stopped and got it right and recorded it right. And I'm so proud that we did that. On some other night I might have would have went, well, no, let's, okay, the show goes on, but no, let's stop. And and our fans understood it and they loved it. And hell, I was talking to them while we were waiting.
Okay. Well, those are the gigs that you remember, because 9 times out of 10, the gigs go really well. But when
Yeah.
something out of the ordinary happens, no matter
Yeah.
what that is.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? And if you're playing live, which we are, there's nothing recorded. So a lot of bands add, sync stuff in, and that's just never been our stick. And we want to play it live. So if I'm sick, hey, sorry, I'm gonna suck that night, but I'm gonna give it hell. But and if somebody else is having stuff, man, but we go out every night, and that's the one thing I can say for almost the last 40 years is that, whether you've been, hey, I've had kidney stones on stage, not knowing, I thought I had food poisoning, but, you just go out and you give it your all and you're 110. And I think that shows, and your fans love that, yeah, we don't want to call it in, there's no way in heck that we're going to call it in.
Do you have any favorite tunes from the new live album celebrating 50 years live at the Ryman?
Yeah, you know what? We did an old obscured one called Cry for the Bad Man that I used to love. And, we did that. We did Red, White, and Blue. song that myself and Donnie and some friends of mine wrote years ago, and it's basically about going to Sturgis, and they have the big motorcycle rally here in America, and we were out there, and I just took that and ran with it. But the problem with Skynyrd is that there's so many great songs. There really is, and but we had some amazing guests, with Jelly Roll and Marcus King and Brent Smith from Shinedown and my brother, and it was a great night overall. I mean, if I live to be 100 years old, man, I'm gonna remember this night, and I think the fans will eat it up.
How hard is it for Lynyrd Skynyrd to make a set list with a back catalogue like yours?
It's you know what, we know that we're going to end the show with Freebird because that's just been planted in there. And we've changed the front of it over the years and opened with different songs, but MCA just works so good for us that we keep reverting back to that. So we kind of got our bookmarks and we fill in, and it really is a hard thing. And I get people going, well, why don't you play more new music? But for me, I got into Skynyrd in '87 to carry on what Ronnie, Gary, and Alan started. And I never really thought that I was going to come out here and bring a bunch of Skynyrd music live, new music. I wanted to bring in the old stuff and keep the old stuff alive. And that's what this band was built on. And I'm so proud that we've kind of kept that going. And over the years, we'll throw in a new one every once in a while, but I want to hear the old stuff myself. I love songs like All I Can Do Is Write About It and Simple Man and Three Steps and Breeze and Smell, and Down South Jukin'. I love those songs. So I enjoy singing those and playing them live.
Well, you clearly still enjoy touring after all these years. You love it.
Oh yeah, I love playing. I hate traveling. I ain't gonna lie to you. Traveling sucks. But you got to travel to go see them. So, but I love playing. I love getting up on stage. There's nothing like it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've done a lot of bad stuff in my life, and including drinking and stuff that I shouldn't have done. And that but the best drug in the world is getting up there and playing a song, man. I mean, it's a great, the adrenaline, and again, I can be tired, I can be sick, but when the intro comes on and the lights go down and that crowd's there, what a great thing, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get to experience that, and to be able to have that experience is just an awesome thing, and I thank God for it every day.
When you're on the road, how do you pass the time when you're traveling?
Well, I if it's an overnighter, and because I do pretty good on a bus, but I don't sleep a lot on a bus. So in the mornings I'll try to take, sleep as late as I can. But I am an early person. I was up this morning at 5:30. I always say the early bird catches the worm. But for me, man, I'll bring a little guitar out and sit around the room playing, and doing that kind of stuff, talking business or talking to my family wherever I'm from seeing if everything's good at the home front and waiting for that show to happen, man. I mean, it really is. And I think, what, looking back over my life, I think the reason why I did drugs and why I drank was that, what, as a musician, you're bored. You go from having all these people in front of you and doing what you do and that adrenaline to zero or zip after a show in a hotel room by yourself. And usually you're packing up your bags, and the old days we were trying to find something to get into. But I think musicians become very bored during the day waiting on that time, because that's the special time. I mean, it's a build up time, and you got to really for me these days, I go, okay, I'm saving my energy. I want to be on it tonight. I don't want to do something stupid today and go out and walk around 10 miles and be tired tonight or something. So I'm kind of hanging. You asked what the heck I'm doing. I'm hanging and waiting on that showtime, waiting for that show to go.
Now, you guys are on tour from May 30th right the way through to October 14th, and you're literally playing everywhere: USA, Spain, Italy, Germany. Czech
Yeah.
Republic, Austria, UK, then across the USA and Canada.
Yeah.
What's the hardest part of doing a long tour like that?
A long tour is your stamina, man. Just keeping it up, getting the rest, especially a singer.
Yeah.
You don't want your singer tired because that hurts the vocal cords, and I've had two surgeries on mine.
Have
I
you?
had polyps and a cyst, and the rest thing is everything, and eating right
Yep.
and trying to maintain yourself. And you're right. When we hit Europe, man, we're doing multiple shows. I mean, we have a few days off, but those are travel days. And so it's getting that rest and taking care of yourself, man. And you know what? It's great because we used to not realize that. So
You were
so it's
young.
good to have that education now, and know your peaks and your limits.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We were young and stupid, right?
yeah, exactly. I'd come home and sleep for like 3 weeks, because I'd been running hard.
When you're packing your bags for a tour and you get to the first place, if you were to forget something in that bag, what would you go, my God, I've left this at home. What the hell? How did I do that?
Oh heck, I don't know. You know what? For me, I never unpack. I got a dirty clothes bag, and my bags are always packed. It's been that way for years, and I usually, hey, I usually restock and stock. That's I always say that's the worst part about after a show, because if you're leaving that night, you have to go back and pack up. So I'm always trying to not unpack too much. I'm always like, it's kind of funny. When my wife, I first started dating her years ago, she came out and she had never been on the road with me, and she came into hotel room. She had they had a dresser in the hotel, and she was taking her stuff, putting it in there, and I was laying on the bed. I was like, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" She goes, "Well, I'm unpacking." I said, "We're leaving at 2 this morning." She was like, "What?" I know. She was like, "What? We're leaving tonight?" I said, "Yeah, we have a gig tomorrow night in a different city." She learned the lesson real quick.
Excellent. I like that one.
But an answer to your question, I think, for me at my age, for getting some sort of, because I have blood pressure medicine. Oh God, I got to make sure I have my medicine, and maybe a phone charger. Oh shoot, I left my phone.
So looking further ahead, what's next for
You,
Lynyrd Skynyrd?
for us, we got this album coming out, and we got this tour, and we're just playing it by ear. There is songs that myself and Ricky and Gary wrote before his untimely death, and I would love to see us record those and get it out to the fans. And but for us, man, it's just going out and playing live. Skynyrd they made great records, and that's great. But you know what? If you come to a Skynyrd show, it's a religious experience, man. And so the band was built on playing live. They didn't have The Voice, American Idol, America's Got Talent. They didn't have that way back when. So the band took it to the public live
Yeah.
and to the fans live, and that's what we've been doing for years. And so hopefully the good Lord will let these 2 feet that I'm sitting on my couch here in Florida get up and go, and we'll be out there seeing everybody.
I'm sure that'll happen. I've got to let you go because I know you've got other media obligations today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for this fantastic interview. The best of luck on tour, and I'm sure you'll have fantastic success with your new live album and DVD
There you go.
celebrating 50 years.